Welcome back to Freaked Out Incorporated. Yes, we changed our name because I didn't like to.
Yeah, the tube was kind of neither one of us liked it, but we had to come up with something else because there is someone else named Freaked Out, so we had to put something else behind it. So Liz kind of just threw tube there as a stand-in word till we found something better.
Absolutely, and
I think ink works out perfect.
Right, because we were like all about just about every topic possible when it comes to paranormal.
And also what we like to do is go around and do things.
Spooky Incorporation. Today we're going to be covering a couple of topics, one that's pretty heavy. So we're going to be covering the topics of Will Smith and Kanye West and their connection to the Illuminati and some sketchy shit as well. Yay!
Well, I personally know that you've been a pretty big fan of Will Smith. So I know this is going to be pretty hard for you going through all of this. And I know that you've also avoided this for some time.
I have avoided it like the plague.
Yeah.
I didn't want it because everything that Jada was doing, I was just so mad and I didn't want to see the truth. I really didn't. Obviously, I'm a diehard Will Smith fan, have always been, but I don't think I'm a fan anymore. I've been a fan since he started on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I was a kid, loved that show.
I think everybody was, I think we all loved Will Smith because we looked at him, especially people like me who did not grow up really wealthy, looked at him like, oh, what a life. When he was the, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
He was the bomb.com.
Yeah, everybody was like, man, that would be great to go live with my
But to be fair, I didn't really educate myself on anything that he had done other than that in his movies.
Watched a lot of Will Smith movies. I've seen a lot of them. I think he's a good actor. I'm also pretty shocked by the information as well that's going to come through here. It's sad. It's really sad. But I've been feeling it for some time.
I have personally never looked at the darkness side of Will Smith. And as I've been looking into this a little bit more, I've been seeing the darkness and I don't want to.
And we're also going to be covering in this Kanye West. Now, I have my own thoughts and opinions about Kanye West. But I will say that some things that I have seen recently have made me kind of question how I feel, but I still don't like the guy.
I have zero attachment to Kanye West.
I don't really like him. Yeah.
This will be easy for me.
Let's talk a little bit about Will Smith here first. Give you guys a little bit of background just in case nobody knows. But I mean, if you don't know who Will Smith is, you might have been living under a rock.
Viewer discretion is advised because this is going to be some serious topics. Things we won't be hiding from like we do on TikTok. So here we go.
For those of you who are just joining us and are new here with us, Liz is a psychic. She also is a psychic medium and has been doing this for many, many, many years, 20 plus. So she's pretty...
Now it's 20 plus.
Yeah, she is damn accurate, if you ask me, honestly. I gave her the names Boom Spot On because she is spot on every single time. Mind blown. That's where that came from. So if you've yet to hear anything that we've done, Liz's predictions on TikTok, on our podcast, anywhere, I highly recommend taking a listen. Our podcast is called Freaked Out Podcast. It is available on Podbean, on iHeartRadio, Spotify, everywhere else, but I recommend Podbean only because that's the only place you can get from episode pre-0 all the way up to our current season 3. Everywhere else, there's limited spots. Also look up Freaked Out LL. That is our TikTok account. She does do a lot over there as well. A lot of prediction videos and stuff like that.
Well, thanks for the shout out, babe. Yes, I have been doing this for 20 years now. But in the last 20 plus years, but in the last 10 years, I've really perfected my craft.
Absolutely.
And I've been really working heavily to get better and better every day. And I can tell every year there's always an improvement. And
absolutely.
And I plan to improve myself more and more as we go along.
Enough about shining stuff.
Enough about me and my stuff. Let's get into it.
Will Smith was born on September 25th of 1968 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Will Smith was raised in a Baptist household and attended Our Lady of Lourdes, a private Catholic elementary school in Philadelphia. He later attended Overbrook High School. Smith was a bright student, earning good grades, and he was nicknamed the Prince because of the way that he could charm his way out of trouble. Rumors that he turned down to a scholarship to MIT are unfounded, and he never applied to college because he always wanted to pursue a career in music.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he actually applied for college, but I feel like maybe a professor of his or a teacher was like, you should do this. I know somebody, you know? I think that's kind of what actually happened, but no, he didn't apply. So I agree with that.
Now, he also teamed up with DJ Jazzy Jeff and Jeffrey Towns to form the duo DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince in the late 1980s. Together, they had several hits, including Summertime and Parents Just Don't Understand.
That song, like, I didn't really listen to that song until after he was on Fresh Prince, but I remember like my childhood and listening to that song going, hell yeah, they don't understand.
I think that's like the anthem still to this day in 2024. Parents just don't understand.
I do want to briefly talk about something to kind of defend him to a degree on something. Now, I don't necessarily feel like Will Smith was molested or sexualized as a child, but I do feel as though in order for him and his counterpart, DJ Jazzy, being able to move forward and actually obtain certain roles, I do believe that they had been groomed, I guess it would be. They were definitely sexually violated, both of them, especially Will. And I feel like Will felt like he had to do what he had to do to get the job. He went along with that. And I think that's where things really started to escalate for him.
That's tough. That's tough. Now, Will transitioned from music to acting, and that came with his starring role in the NBC television series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. This sitcom was hugely successful and helped to establish Will Smith as a talented actor.
Absolutely. From the beginning of 1990 to 1992, those said same people sexually assaulted Will Smith, and until he got famous enough to be able to kind of stand on his own 2 feet, and he was like, no more of this. I also feel like he dated a lot of women at that point, but was also questioning his sexuality that entire time.
I mean, you would when you're being young, moldable in Hollywood, you're being sexually assaulted by grown men. It makes you feel all kinds of different ways.
Absolutely. I feel like at this point is when Will started to have an interest in younger males. He had dated just about everyone he could date female-wise, and it wasn't hitting right. And I think that's when he started to realize, hey, I've got an attraction to younger males.
So when you say younger men, you're referring to like minors, correct?
Yeah, minors for sure. I would say that this started at around the time he started in the 6 degrees of separation. I'm seeing that there were young boys around, and I feel like that's what kind of piqued his interest, and he started communicating with these kids. However, he didn't do anything quite yet.
All right, so we're going to come back to all of that here in a moment. I do want to speak on his 2 marriages here. Now, Will Smith was married to Cherie Zampino in 1992, and they had 1 son together, which was Willard Carroll, or Trey Smith III. They had him before divorcing in 1995. Then he turned around and married actress Jada Pinkett in 1997, and then they also had 2 children, which is Jaden Smith, who has pursued an acting and music career as well, and Willow Smith, who also is a singer and an actress.
Yeah, I feel like at this point in his life, divorcing Cherie, I think that's exactly the timeline of when he started being interested in younger males. And it's pretty devastating in my opinion.
That's crazy. Now, there was a lot of accusations made connected to Will Smith. Can you confirm maybe any of these victims that he hurt, like any of these accusations?
Well, the first person, child, I feel like he took their innocence from was Ross Bagley. He was actually the boy who played his son in Independence Day. There's a very similar approach to Bill Cosby. If you've noticed, a few of Will Smith's roles, not all, but he gets to have like that child-father dynamic. There's a lot of roles like that where he's dad with these kids of that age. Mm-hmm. And I really believe that he molested him. And like I said, very Bill Cosby, in a very Bill Cosby way, like setting the scene, communicating with the child, wanting to run lines, teach them the ways, get comfortable, spending a lot of time with these kids, giving them presents, and then molesting them.
I am honestly not surprised.
I really had to take off my glasses to educate myself on this, or else I'd still be in denial. I was in denial about a week ago. When I remember me, you, and our friend Jace were having a conversation, and it just blew my mind.
It blew my mind too, but like I said, I have more recently fallen down my own rabbit hole with looking at stuff with Will Smith because I felt something, like I said, back from Pursuit of Happiness. Just the way this kid looked at him, and then how his son is acting out now. Some of the things he said, I've watched his son's interviews about him, and there's just something not adding up there.
Whew.
Orlando Brown has appeared in the news lately, making some claims that in the past that he was sexually assaulted by Will Smith and Michael Jackson. And then those accusations just kind of went under the rug in 2020. I haven't heard from him. Nothing. Not a single thing.
He also wasn't looking for money or compensation because he could have gone the legal route if
Right.
that was the case,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it takes a lot of courage for someone, especially a man,
Mm-hmm.
who was sexually assaulted as a child by another man, come out.
Absolutely.
And,
it's
like,
much harder for men. It's hard for anyone.
Of course,
Super
not
hard
to take away from
for
women,
any gender.
but
Women are more apt to come out than men when they feel more safer. Some men never come out at all and say anything.
when I looked into this, this was actually the first one that I looked into after we started to do some research on this, and I can see and sense the pain in his eyes. And I mean, look at what he's been going through, right? So I honestly do believe he was sexually abused by Will Smith on many occasions.
Sad, sad. Now, it seems as though his life was really starting to go in a bad direction. He entered into a free residential center in Texas for 6 months that was designed to help men battle addiction, homelessness, and other life-impacting issues. In December of 2022, he was arrested again for domestic violence.
Clearly, this is like, you know, him releasing these scary demons. He keeps getting himself off track, and I never felt like Will Smith was connected to the Illuminati, but I'm pretty sure he is now. It's a very silent connection. There isn't a lot of Illuminati promoting. I think that the Illuminati stepped up here and was trying to make Orlando look like he was crazy.
They got to make it look like he's the bad guy. The Illuminati, you know, always has to, they clean up all the messes for all their top stars, and obviously Will Smith being a silent partner, they're gonna protect him. Orlando Brown was also kicked out of the hotspot TAO after he made an outburst suggesting that I am Satan but Lucifer's son.
The Illuminati is trying to be heavily involved in killing him. Like, I feel like they want him
Absolutely,
dead.
yeah, they got to take him out.
Yep, so they're going to give him drugs. They're giving him hookups. He's getting free drugs here and there. Whenever he starts to go on a really good, like, clear path, they're like, no, you need to fuck up again. They gave him hallucinogens this particular time and was right there ready and waiting for him to say some really fucked up things.
Yeah,
to
like
be
pressuring him.
Exactly.
They probably were saying stuff in his ears, and we all know when you take those types of hallucinogens or those drugs and you're not in a good headspace, it's going to make you see or say some pretty crazy ass things. Dr. Phil also offered to help Orlando Brown. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, some of you guys are probably going to come for me in the comments here, but I don't trust Dr. Phil as far as I can throw him. I don't necessarily feel like Dr. Phil has always been, the psychologist, the doctor for the Illuminati, but I feel like he is now.
He made a big impact. Like when he started out, I believe he started out wanting to do good. I do see that. I do believe that when he started out, when he got his Dr. Phil show and he was getting real famous from it, I think that's when they stepped in there.
He's right about everything. Like,
yeah, he's always right.
He loves to bring on the most uneducated people, like to make them look like asses.
Right, to make them look stupid while he looks like the superior smart one, for sure.
We'll talk about Dr. Phil and his connections later, but again, he's part of it and getting some big bucks for it.
I feel as though there are other children that have been sexually abused by Will Smith.
This is probably the scariest one. I feel like he hurt his son. He tried not to. He didn't touch his son, Trey. I feel as though he sexually assaulted Jaden and Jaden alone.
Well, Jaden's like a mini him, right?
He was basically telling Jaden, like, I'm going to turn you into a man. This is just what we do. He tried not to, from what I can see, but he couldn't help himself, which is incredibly sickening and making me sick to my stomach as we sit here and talk about it.
So I did mention before about his son Jaden coming out in some recent interviews and stuff. I feel like if you people, anyone who's listening, may be questioning that, I feel like you should go take a listen to some of those and maybe this will make sense. What was Jada Pinkett doing through all of this? Does she even know that this was going on?
There is so much to say on this situation. Now, Jaguar Wright talks a hell of a lot about it. And if you haven't listened to six parts, and there's more to come, I think, I highly recommend it. These two were throwing sex parties left, right, center. Hey, you guys want to come over? Let's do some. We're going to swap it out. Let's do the car key thing. What else are you going to do when you're rich and you're horny and you're sick of being a mom and dad for 5 minutes? They're having these sex parties and they're having it with their children in the houses. And I know that these kids may have seen things that they shouldn't have seen. And not to say that like that's a lifestyle, but keep that shit behind closed doors.
You know, when you're rich and famous, you got all the money in the world. You have everything money can buy and you still want more.
I feel like Diddy and Will have got it on a few times. Diddy, Will, and Jada got it on. I feel like there's so many connections, but we will talk about Will Smith's guests a little later on because there are a lot of them. Basically, she was just in the background, drinking away, pretending like nothing was happening. I think she's a bit of a lush.
Did he sexually abuse Justin Bieber?
Oh my God. So Justin, I feel like, had already been sexually assaulted by many, many people at this point. I feel as though Will brought Justin in as a secondary child, and I feel like he molested Justin and Jaden, and I feel like he made them do things to each other.
First of all, that's incredibly disgusting, but second of all, that video recently that's been surfacing all over the internet with Jaden and Justin together.
You can see Justin also falling apart at the seams too, you know?
Yep, absolutely. Then there's pictures of Justin surfacing of him crying more recently. And
right. That
and acting out.
I feel like Justin's been dropping a lot of Easter eggs for a while now. Like his song.
The Yummy song, absolutely.
Right. I feel like there's even more to come. I feel like he's going to be writing a whole album. He's actually going to take a little page out of Taylor Swift's book and really write about his emotions. This is the next album for Justin's probably going to be his most raw. However, I feel like he's in that danger zone of us losing him. Like I feel like he is scary close to the edge.
Also, the more recent song, Lonely.
Right.
Where he's like, what if you had it all, but you're just so fucking lonely?
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like there's a lot coming with Justin, and we're just going to be finding out about everything over the next couple of months to years.
Now, speaking of Justin, you had mentioned very quietly that Pink had done something to make him traumatized as a child, specifically that kiss on the neck and Justin's reaction to that.
I don't feel like Pink is a predator in any capacity, but I feel like in that moment, putting yourself in Justin's shoes, because he had endured so much abuse from so many different people, that when she did that, it was like a trigger for him. So in his mind, he automatically went into defense mode, thinking that Pink was a predator. I feel like he's endured abuse from everyone in Diddy's crew, anyone who would show him any sort of affection. And then those men would fail him and use him as a sex object. And it's just so disturbing. Pink did not do anything to him, but he is traumatized by her, and I understand why. And I think if Pink understood and knew what the hell had happened, she would have hugged him and made everything okay. But obviously,
I feel like she would have taken him back to her house or something to keep him. I feel like she's a safe person.
Yeah,
I feel like she would have helped him. I can see why he was scared. I definitely can see that, everything he went through, but I definitely think that he missed the mark with that one.
More people are going to be coming to the surface when it comes to Will Smith and making accusations, including Orlando Brown again. I feel like he's going to come back and really talk about his story, and this time he's going to say it a little louder. He's going to give us details too. I feel like because of Will's connection to the Illuminati, they're going to again try to hush him out, but I don't see that happening either. I think that this will eventually come to surface, kind of like Diddy.
Definitely a heavy topic. We're going to switch gears here, though. A little lighter of a conversation, or rather, maybe an unusual conversation.
Bizarre, to say the least.
I'm pretty sure that Kanye West is one of those clones that we've been talking about. How do you feel about that? That's just, I feel that way, specifically because of some of the things he's done lately and something he did say.
I will be the first person to say that I am not a big believer in the clone life. I believe that there are clones, yes. I believe that there are things happening with clones. I'm not quite convinced with certain things with clones, but we're going to continue to carry on with this topic. When it comes to Kanye West, he is a very unusual person. He gives me abusive, controlling vibes. Like,
absolutely.
Being a woman from an abusive relationship, you can just pick them out of a crowd.
Anybody who's suffered abuse can pick those abusive people out pretty quickly.
He's a very irrational human being, and he always has been.
Absolutely, yes. Very irrational.
He throws tantrums if he's not in control. He's always been a problematic member for the Illuminati. I feel like his connection to Jay-Z is genuinely what brought him to the Illuminati. And they're all like, are you sure, Jay? He's a walking, talking, ticking time bomb. And Jay-Z, because he has a high standing in that Illuminati, was like, no, he'll be fine. We'll keep him in check. So Kanye would come home to whoever he was with, mostly Kim, and be like, yo, you would not believe this Illuminati shit going on with Jay-Z. And he would lab it all. And because Kim isn't part of this Illuminati, at least not technically part of it. Her mother is, though. And her mother went back running and telling everybody, like, oh my God, Kanye's telling everyone everything. We got him, shut him up.
Absolutely. Chris ain't gonna leave no mess out.
The Illuminati also has recording access to all of its members. They are allowing to be recorded. Been recording Kanye as well in the background, coming to Jay-Z like, okay, we need you to fix this problem.
Obviously, if the Illuminati is recording him, they're hearing shit like, this guy, I don't know, this guy is fucked up in my opinion.
This clone, now there can potentially be a clone connected to Kanye, but I don't think Kanye West is dead.
I don't think he's dead. I just think there's a clone doing things.
Well,
I think they got him, the real Kanye, probably somewhere. Facility, like in one of those tanks where like they keep you alive, but you're like not anywhere. Like they've got you knocked out, like in a coma, basically.
Well, let's talk about that here. So there might be a filler that comes out into the crowd. I believe this. I feel as though that there is a mind control going on. So any sort of members that are considered out of control are going to be sent to MK Ultra. I remember we covered MK Ultra for a brief moment on the podcast, more so on like a live, but we really never talked about it in a big way.
So you think they're like, that's where Kanye is? Underneath the MK Ultra, like, human experiment? And he's in a building in a human experiment?
No, I think it's Kanye West walking around, but he's had some surgeries done. Like, he's had some procedures.
Like a lobotomy?
Pretty much to shut him the fuck up.
It just scrambled his brain and made him more crazy.
Pretty much, because if you think about it, like, look at all this shit going on with his wife. Like, what in the hell? She finally got to wear some clothes the other day.
For those of you that do not know what MK Ultra is, yes, it is an illegal human experimenting program designed and undertaken by the U.S., aka the CIA, to develop procedures on many different things, aka mind controlling.
There's also something, guys, that we're not going to talk about here, but it'll be under the exclusive side when we have something set up on this side of things. But if I talk about it here publicly, they will freak out.
Who is they?
The people watching. The people that sit there and comb through every single thing with a highlighter. You think the Illuminati is bad. This is way worse.
I wish we could talk about this right now.
We're going to have to wait. I believe that when people from the Illuminati are acting out, they basically get taken to the MK Ultra. And I think Jay-Z kept pushing it like, no, man, I don't want to take Kanye there. But then they decided to go for it. Because Kanye was labeled as a whistleblower. Amanda Bynes was somebody who also may have been starting a whistleblowing situation. There are other celebrities that have undergone the MK Ultra thing, including the woman attached to Scientology, Shelley Miscavige.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We've covered her on a podcast as well, but I believe she's somebody who was taken to the MK Ultra place.
I believe it. It kind of makes sense, because Kanye is out there making his new wife a very creepy-ass version of Kim Kardashian. Why do you want that?
Because he's obsessive.
Yeah, and that's all he remembers from his lobotomy is his ex-wife now. I don't believe that's her personality. I feel like she's a very smart girl, and she's just, like, being dumb and thinks she's in love and falling for this crazy-ass trap.
If I could add to that, I believe that she also had a procedure done by MK Ultra.
She probably did. I could see her, doing it. I don't think Kim, though, would.
No. All these pieces are just falling in together, sitting here back and forth trying to channel all this and see what we can come up with. But it's crazy. The more we dive in, the more we find out. It is bloody wild.
No, I do love being here with you when you're doing this, although I'm still stuck on that. I need to know. For me, my own personalness.
The group that we're not talking about. Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. It makes the Illuminati look like NXT. It looks like NXT wrestling to the WWE. I don't fear the Illuminati as much as I do other things. It's going to be a cool, crazy, wild ride, and I'm here for it. So please, guys, make sure to submit your comments in the comment section about things you want to talk about. Suspects on this Illuminati list, whatever the case may be, we want to hear it. There is more to cover on the Kanye West side of things, but we have run out of time today, and we will cover him in the next episode, which we will be covering the Kardashians specifically.
Oh, hooray, my no favorite people. I hate the Kardashians.
Yes. Well, Landen is not holding back. He is not a fan of the Kardashians, as you can tell. But,
I love Taylor Swift.
I mean, yeah, Taylor, of course. She made that song about Kim.
Exactly.
We'll talk about that too.
Makes me love Taylor even more. Because I hate I hated Kim Kardashian when she came out with her show, The Kardashians. I hated her before that. But anyways.
Well, it is what it is. We are going to be coming back here next week, next topic. So we'll talk a little bit more about Kanye at that point.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys, stay freaked.